I'm honored to be here with you again. It's good to see a lot of old friends and a lot of new friends. This is a great celebration of life, and we pay tribute to those who are here for making it into the most exclusive club in Utah, the Centenarian Club. So I'm here to inaugurate some new members here. They're just making it for the first time, and welcome back repeat offenders that are still here as part of the group. So it's a great occasion for me and for the First Lady, Jeanette, who's with me today, and we look forward to greeting you today as best that we can. Let me just say a few things if I can, and congratulations to one and all. We have about 146 centenarians in the state of Utah. That number is growing each and every year, which is a good thing, and a tribute to the fact that from 100 years ago when the average lifespan was only 47, till now the average lifespan is about 77, that we're trying to get everybody into the Centenarian Club, and maybe in a few more generations we'll make it. But of those 146, 125 of you are women. 21 are men. So Jeanette has a better chance to make this club than I do, is what I'm learning from this. So I wish her well. I would also like to make mention, again, we pay tribute to all of you, but my chief of staff is Derek Miller. Where's Derek? Derek's right over here. Derek has his fingerprints on most everything good that's happened in this state economically. He's been the past chairman of the Governor's Office of Economic Development, the director over there. He's brought us in such companies as Procter & Gamble, Microsoft, eBay, Disney Interactive. We just had the announcement for eBay's expansion here, 2,200 new jobs. That's a large part of what he's been doing, and so I've made him my chief of staff. He's been very successful in his career, worked in Washington, D.C. He's an accomplished attorney. And you know what they say about behind every successful man, there's a surprise mother-in-law, and today a surprise grandmother-in-law who is 100 years old today, Lula Croft. So let's have Lula just stand up and let's recognize her in behalf of her grandson-in-law, my chief of staff, Derek Miller. In 1911, the governor of Utah was a fellow by the name of William Spry. Probably fitting, you're all pretty spry. And Governor Spry was the third governor of Utah. I'm the 17th. You've covered a great span, but one of the great things that happened under Governor Spry was he decided that we were a state that needed to have a Capitol building. We are one of only 2 or 3 states in America that didn't have a Capitol. And so he made it his crusade to go out there and see if we couldn't, in fact, get the legislature to fund and build a great government public building, which we call the state capitol today. And all he wanted to borrow was $1,305,000 to do it. And as is typical in the legislature, they said that was too much, and they cut it. They only gave him $1 million to build a Capitol building, and obviously that was not enough money. In fact, it cost about just under $2 million, but fortunately for Governor Spry and the people of Utah, he was able to get some private donations. Most specifically, he had private donations from the widow of the Union Pacific Railroad. That's why women live longer. The widow of William Henry Harriman of the Union Pacific Railroad gave, at that time, as part of their tax obligation, $800,000. And that was enough with some other private donations to close the gap that allowed us to build the Capitol, which you've been to, and we've had this event in the Rotunda on other occasions. The interesting thing was, at the time, it was not without controversy to build this Capitol, because as you that have been there know this, it's a very large, beautiful, ornate building. And they said, look, the population of Utah at the time was only 280,000 people. Why are we building this building so big, so elaborate, so ornate? And the people involved in it with Governor Sprice said, because we're not building it just for the people of today, we're building it for the people of tomorrow. It's not what we are today, but what we can become as a great state. And if you go to that Capitol building, you can see that those folks had a vision for the future of this state of Utah that's almost beyond comprehension for the time. And so we pay tribute to those who had this vision and the great Capitol building that we have today. I think that kind of exemplifies you and what you've done. We all know that you stand on the shoulders of those who've gone before. And although your shoulders might slump just a little bit more than they used to, we still stand on your shoulders. Utah is a great place to live. It's a great place to raise families. It's a great place to do business, in large part because of your shoulders, because of you putting your shoulders to the wheel and doing what needed to be done. You've raised families, you've created businesses, you've created commerce, you've raised the rising generations which are taking over and leading today, and because of your great mentoring and example, we have a wonderfully great state. Now, things have changed around the country. I'll just give you one little factoid to go along with the things that Neil said. The total amount of federal spending in 1911, 100 years ago, was $690 million. Now, that's kind of a tidy sum, but $690 million is what we spent in the entire year on the federal government. Today, our federal budget is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 trillion, just under $4 trillion of what we're going to spend on the federal government. We spend as much today now as we spend 100 years ago in a couple of hours. We spend in a couple of hours what we spent in the whole year 100 years ago. It shows the change in the expanse of our country, the expanse of our federal involvement in our lives. Some of it good, some of it not so good, but it shows the change, at least in a dollar sense, the dramatic change that's happened in the last 100 years here in this country. Anyway, we want to pay tribute to you today. We're honored to be here with you. The only governor that almost made it to the Centenarian Club was Governor J. Bracken Lee. He lived to be 97 years and 215 days. So the record of being the first governor to become a member of the Centenarian Club is still there. I'm competing with a couple of others out there. I'm older than some, younger than others, but I want to make the club. So that's my goal, to join with you here in a few years as part of the Centenarian Club. Congratulations, welcome. We're honored to be here with you today.